Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Webisode Watch, very first episode. I got two special guests, and I'll let them introduce themselves in 1 second. My name is Blair Beveridge. I'm going to be your host today, and today's show is going to be about Space Janitors, a show that hopefully everybody here is very well versed with. But we'll start ladies first. Tess, please introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi there. I can't tell if I'm frozen on it. Okay, I'm unfrozen. Hi. Great start. My name is Tess Dagenstein, and I play Elle on Space Janitors.
And hey, I'm Davin. I'm one of the producers and one of the creators of Space Janitors.
Okay. Pretty simple stuff. All right, we're gonna start with Tess. One of a very popular question that's been asked many times about this show was what happened to Elle in season 2, and you know it has been answered by a few different people, but you know we have Tess here, and you know might as well get it straight from the source. So Tess, please let us know what happened with Elle in season 2 and where we may see Elle moving forward.
Where she went wrong in season 2. Well, in speaking for Elle, like the fictional character, I know that she's on an upgrade, as you can do on a science fiction show, and I'm so grateful that you can do on a science fiction show. But myself as the actor, I actually I got an opportunity with some work that would take me back to my home province of Regina, Saskatchewan for a few months, and I got the offer, I believe, just a little bit before we knew about the Space Janitors filming dates. And it just so happened that there was a bit of stuff going on with my family, and so I thought I would take that offer and be there for Christmas with my family and just be able to kind of be with them. Yeah, for kind of the stuff that was going on. So it turned out I was really, really bummed to miss the second season, and I was seeing pictures that were being posted on the Facebook page, and everyone was tweeting, and my heart was like, oh, oh, oh. I was constantly texting Ebony on set and going like, what happened today? What are the jokes? Like trying to riff via text long distance. It was just, I was very, very much having FOMO. But having said all that, it was very important and just a big kind of life important thing that I took that time with my family. So thank God for science fiction writing when you can just go on an upgrade for a while. And I'm so glad that they're into the idea of having me back if we do end up going forward with the season 3. I feel really, really lucky.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been asked so many times just due to the fact that so many people missed Elle, and I think that's a big compliment to you know, both the writing and the acting of the character. So, you know, hopefully you don't have to answer that question anymore, Davin or Tess, but I'm presuming it'll probably come up again.
Yeah, well, it's cute. I mean, like, you know, there was no drama, which is the first thing you might think. Like, you know, did she get fired? Did they have a falling out? Did she demand too much money?
Yeah, she's a horrible person.
Character?
Yeah, $1 million an episode.
She a diva? Or... Yeah, but there's zero drama. It's just that Tess wasn't available when we were filming. That's all. So yeah, we're gonna rearrange everyone's schedules around Tess this year to make sure that it's Tess first, and then everyone else who's available will shoot. So.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. That's why there's no drama. It's because I am a diva, but everyone works around it. So.
Right.
Perfect. Now, being that I'm actually local here in Toronto, I get to see some of the other projects that you guys are working on. I had to see it a few times, but that's you in the car commercial, isn't it, Tess? That's kind of hiding.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. How did it turn out?
I don't know, was that makeup or was that CG? Because you blended right into the car.
Well, good to hear. Yeah, it was makeup. Well, yeah, makeup. They painted my whole body white, and then they CG'd. So a bit of a combo of both of those things.
Very cool. I saw Pat, and then like 5 minutes later, they were you in the same car manufacturing commercial. Like,
yeah, we were all in the same waiting room together. It was like, okay, what are you going in for? And he was like, yeah, the blowfish. And I was like, cool, chameleon.
You know, I always feel like I feel like they're cheating on me when I see actors appear in commercials. Like, you know, so I don't pay them enough not to.
No, I totally understand.
Yeah. But it's so hilarious. It's like, oh, they're mine. Give them back to me. Yeah, it's so cool. It's so cool.
It can kind of sometimes feel like you're cheating on yourself a little bit too doing commercials. But
I saw Tess in a great commercial. It was one that had to do with was it zits? It was some kind of a facial blemish commercial.
Oh, it was facial herpes, Davin. It was a cold sore commercial.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. It was facial herpes, and it was on IMAX before a movie that I saw, and wow. Tess's head was the height of an IMAX screen. It was like literally the sore was larger than my real face. It was pretty sweet. Oh my God! I was excited about that one. That was a good one.
That's hilarious. Yeah, my dad always jokes, just in terms of the paycheck for commercials. He's always like, "So how's your cold sore empire going?" Yeah, so that's what I do in my family's eyes. I've got a cold sore empire.
Just also to follow up on a couple other people, Brendan has actually been on a ton of commercials here. He ended up being like the Bell 5 guy that I'm watching the Super Bowl, and all of a sudden I'm like, I know that guy, and everyone's like, it's Super Bowl commercial, well, Canadian Super Bowl commercial, but then that ran for a long time, as well as the Captain Morgan ad he did, almost simultaneously. Oh, sure. And Pat, sorry.
Oh, watching TV sometimes can be like playing a game of like spot your friends, like especially with commercials. But it's great. It's great to see so many people, who work so hard and you get to see on stage so often. It's great to see them get screen time too.
Absolutely. And that kind of transitions into the next question I have is, why Davin, and maybe you as Tess, why did you guys decide to go web with this, and what are the major differences between web and television?
Oof, that's an awesome question for me, because that's what I talk about a lot these days when I'm talking either like on a panel or I'm actually talking directly to broadcasters, because that's one thing that we know well is we've done web previous before. I guess, why did we go web? There are some reasons. First of all, about 2 or 3 years ago, the theory was that we could demonstrate a set of characters, demonstrate a universe online for not very much money while we prepare to pitch the show to television. I'm not sure if people know, but like television is it's still definitely the main ring of the circus. It's where most of the money is. It's where a lot of the talented people are in terms of like people who build your sets, for example. We were lucky enough that we pulled some people from television to work on us with Space Janitors, and they were really nice and worked for like a half of their market value. It was really cool for them to do that. But we had done Pwnage. I'd done about 6 web series in my life before, so we're very comfortable with the format. We know it very well, and I think that's why we just sort of thought web first. But to get into that even a little deeper, when you work with a broadcaster, what you typically do is you say, "Hello, Mr. Broadcaster, you have like 1 or 2 slots available. What do you want?" And then they say, well, Blair, we would like an hour-long drama featuring a strong female lead. It has to be family-centric, maybe a supernatural element to it. We want it to be an episodic procedural, so something like a CSI. And they give you kind of, the basket. They give you the container, and then you go away and spin, and we can try and come up with an idea. What we do is something completely different. Geoff, who's the other producer, and I, we get together at his place where he's got a gigantic hot tub and we have some scotch, and we list on a piece of paper like the 30 things that we think would be fun to make, and then we pick the one on the top of the list and we make it. That's it. It's that simple. And when you're online, you can do whatever you want. There's no handcuffs, right? So it can be as long as you want. It can be as crazy as you want. The format, we made it look like TV, but it could have been just like this Google Hangout could have been the show. So you can do that kind of thing on the web, and so that's one of the main differences is you've got so much more freedom in terms of format, in terms of length, all of those things. Now, again, going even deeper into the theory, we were making a web series, but we were trying to make a web series to pitch to TV. So if you get it, we're kind of in this weird gray zone where I picture 2 knobs, a TV knob and a web knob. And for Space Janitors, the web knob was only turned up to about 5 or 6, and the TV knob about 8 or 9. So there's some things in the web series that make it not a good web series. It's a little long. We could have packed more comedy right into those first couple seconds. There's some things we could have done to make it a sharper web series, but we really wanted to kind of find a common ground between the 2 formats, and I think we did. I think we got lucky in that it's the right actors that can pull off, both styles. It's the right, subject matter that it works very well online. That people are going to like it okay. So yeah, we kind of floated somewhere in the middle, and that was new for us, and I think we did okay. I was sort of happy with how it came out.
Now, in terms of length of show, obviously, if you have a show to air, it's got to fill a very specific time slot. When you have web shows, they do vary in length and whatnot. Do you limit yourself to a specific length? Do you just say, hey, look, whatever makes this show work is however long this show is going to be?
Yeah, pretty much. So we definitely don't want to go too short because we don't want to shortchange the audience. If they're going to watch, we want to give them enough material so that the first comment is, oh, well, that was okay, but I wish I could see more. We also don't want to go too long because if people look at the length of a video and they see 20 minutes, you're going to lose half of your audience right there. So the sweet spot we've found is kind of in the about 6 or 7 or 8 minute range, and it turned out that that was just enough for us to have real characters that go through some kind of a plot during the episode, not too long to knock people out of enjoying the show. Yeah, so that's about it. I think I would have liked to have done, obviously, many more episodes. I think that was the thing that bothered me the most, is that we could only afford... Oh, and that's another thing. I mean, there's a budget to these things, right? So Space Janitors has, like, sets. It's got, costumes. It's got really talented people that we're paying. We had to rent a huge studio, so it's not just shot in our basements. So we can't just film 30 episodes of this sucker, and that bothers me. For web, if you're liking the show, if Blair is a fan of the show, I want to give Blair an episode every week for starting now until the heat death of the universe. But we just can't do it. We can do about 8 episodes a year at the moment with the budget we've got, so that's a shame. I wish we could do more.
Now, the subject matter, I think, personally plays a lot better for the web. Obviously, target audiences and whatnot. But, I mean, you guys do a very good job of evading the major thing that you're parodying. Is that something that could actually happen in a TV show, as an example? Can you actually draw so much from one universe without saying what it is?
Probably not. I think more... Now, of course, the legal argument would come up. There would be that discussion. But I think it's more that there's very few TV shows that are parodies. And broadcasters take a lot of comfort in knowing that what you're pitching them is something similar to what's worked in the last couple of years. So because I can't really point to a sci-fi parody that's out there that's killing it on TV, I think I'd have a hard time pitching a new one. That's kind of the game.
It probably speaks to some of that freedom that you were talking about earlier, hey? Yeah. Like the freedom of not having to go through many rungs of approval.
Yeah.
That it's just like you have this concept, the concept happens to be a parody and is evading a copyright or a number of copyrights or whatever.
Yeah.
And that you don't have to then also go through all the rungs.
Yeah.
In order to do that, like it's just you doing that and you having the creative control to know how much you can kind of like tempt that line and how much you can,
It actually leads me to a question that I have for Tess.
Cool.
I have no idea how much sci-fi you'd seen before. Have you watched like Star Wars, Star Trek, Firefly, Battlestar? Do you watch these shows?
Honestly, I had seen no, very little. The most sci-fi that I can honestly say that I was like a fan of, like a fangirl of, would be Futurama.
Oh, well, that's fantastic.
Oh, man, and I love it so much. Like, anytime I get the flu or something, Futurama is like my go-to comfort food.
That's great.
I will watch a season of it in a day. I love it so much. I'm so happy that they kept bringing it back. But in terms of traditional sci-fi, or I guess the sci-fi that we're parodying, and that is like so much the meat of our material that we're drawing from, I had seen all of the Star Wars, all of them once.
Yeah.
And then I watched them all for a second time once I got Space Janitors.
Yeah.
And then I also watched, I think I borrowed Firefly from you.
Right.
Because I was a huge Buffy fan. So that was like a very easy transition, and like I was just like, oh yeah, first episode, Firefly, Joss Whedon, are you kidding? I love this so much.
Okay, that's good.
And so it's not that it just isn't necessarily the material that I'd gravitated towards in the past, or it, like there are people that it just speaks to in such a, I feel like, must be a visceral way, like the fans are so voracious, the sci-fi fans, and I didn't have that same gut connection with it, but that's not to say that I don't really enjoy watching the films, like the newer Star Treks.
Yeah.
I thought were just incredible. And then also Ebony, when I was prepping stuff, she recommended that I check out the Star Trek movie that Leonard Nimoy directed when they go back and like save the whales and the monk is in it, and like I could not get enough of that. I was in Regina over Christmas prepping for the show, which filmed in January, and I was like, Mom, now they're doing this. It's amazing. Like, I was so crazy about it.
I still remember the scene when they're on the bus and the guy's playing the music and, right on his ghetto blaster. It just spoke so much to the day that I was like, oh, it was so campy, but I was fine with that. I didn't need that movie to be serious, and a lot of people panned it because it wasn't serious sci-fi, but I actually really like that one as well.
I've been convinced otherwise. At first it was like at the bottom of my list of best Star Trek, but I kept reading reviews where it was sneaking up, and people would say like, it was funny, but it's all but it's also kind of cool. It's about number 3 or 4. And now I'm a believer. I move it up in my list.
I bought in 100%. And it's campy, but it's so earnest. Oh my God, like with the save the whales messaging.
Yeah.
And I think that line that it walks of being like at once like really just like lots of headbands and ghetto blasters, and then also just like, but seriously guys, save the whales.
We added a lot of humor to that one, and that's what I appreciated with it. I mean,
maybe we should do an episode in season 3 where we have to go back and save like the pigeon, like save something that's just very, very common, like save the ant,
Common and annoying.
Down on Front Street by the hot dog guys, we gotta save a pigeon.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, build this huge plexiglass cage inside a spaceship, and then we get a pigeon, and it's just a small guy in there.
Yeah, totally. So
and it dies because we don't have air holes or something. Yeah.
The pigeon's got some pseudo sexy sass talking trainer.
Yeah. We need a pigeon wrangler on set for the union.
Yeah. Awesome. I'm in. I love it.
Now, do you guys watch web shows at all, or are you just so busy producing them, creating them, acting in them?
I definitely watch them. I don't know if I'm I'm probably not as keyed in. Sorry, guys, I got a cold. I'm probably not as keyed in as Davin is, maybe. But I watch. Wow, here we are. Sorry. One of my really dear friends and my former roommate, and actually the woman that I moved to Toronto with from the prairies. She's got a great web series called Versus Valerie that I feel like there's probably a bit of a similar cross-section demographic for as Space Janitors. Like I could really see some of the people who love SJ really, really loving Versus Valerie. And so I'm a big believer in that show. I love it to bits. I think her performance is obviously amazing in it, even though I'm biased, but I think it's amazing.
Hannah?
Yeah, that's Hannah Spear.
Yeah.
I was actually going to bring that up a little later, but feel free to continue.
Well, feel free. Did you have any questions about it, or?
Well, I've actually just recently found Versus Valerie and the Sexy Nerd Girl blog for 3 years before that. After I met Davin at Toronto Fan Expo, I just happened to be walking in the same area, and Adam saw me and gave me the card, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, this kind of sounds like something I'd like, and I think I destroyed the whole thing in 2 weeks.
You just obliterated it.
Oh yeah, I absolutely loved it, and I'm hoping maybe I can do one of these with some of those people as well. We'll keep my fingers crossed. We'll see how that goes. But
yeah, that's amazing.
How about you, Davin? Besides making these things and Versus Valerie, which I know you also work on, do you watch any other shows?
It's weird, I don't think of web series differently than television series when I'm looking for something to watch. But I have strange habits. I watch documentaries. I watch about 4 a day. I watch them while I work. So I've seen nearly every documentary that's ever been made. And I massively binge television shows. So I watched West Wing, which is 8 seasons, 23 episodes a season. I watched it all in a month, which is, if you do the math, it's insane. Obviously, I have no life.
I absolutely love doing that as well. I did that with Eureka last summer. I did it with Firefly last summer. Because you don't have to wait. That's my favorite part about it. You just boom.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Same with Homelands.
Yeah, you get so into the characters too. You can really just dive in and live in their world and see them all as three-dimensionally as they're written and experience that all at one time. I think that's such a gift for the other side too, right? Such a gift for the writers, the artists, the actors, the filmmakers, everyone who's put so much time into it and then is getting their stuff consumed like as this full, huge opus, kind of. I think it's really amazing that we can do that now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, now, I mean, for so long. Like,
yeah. Yeah, since most of you people watching have been alive, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, web series, like, I have a very broad definition of a web series. So I watch a lot of stuff online, everything online. But even there was a video where a guy was doing voiceover commentary of playing through the game Half-Life. And I watched it. I watched the whole thing, and it was hours and hours of just this guy pretending what was going on in Freeman's head. In fact, I think that's what it's called, Freeman's head or Freeman's mind, while the character is playing just this first-person shooter. That's a web series. And in fact, it's a great web series because millions and millions of people have watched it. It's very short episodes, each is about 2 minutes. There's like 100 of these episodes. And if you like the first one, you basically just like press play on the playlist, and it's hours worth of the same funny entertainment. So that I consider a really good web series, which is why, going back to when I said we turned the TV dial way up on Space Janitors, like it's a dramatic series. It, you know, characters going through arcs. You know, there's a lot going on. There's A and B plots coming out. That's the kind of stuff you don't have to deal with when you're talking about a web series. So I consume all kinds of media online. I like it all. I'm pretty agnostic in terms of whether it's you know, a television show that's been put online, or if it's even like a web extra for 60 minutes, which is old people video, but I love it. I soak it up. So I just watch it all. Yeah, I really enjoy all the different types of shows that you can watch online.
Yeah, I myself, I mean, like most people from the Geek and Sundry community, I started with the Guild for me, and
yeah.
I didn't even know this was a medium until somebody put a link in a forum that I was reading. I'm like, okay, I'll check this out, and that was it. I was hooked from that point forward, and I love the portability of a web series. Like you can't, no commercials as an example. You don't have to deal with that. You don't have to deal with you know, as you mentioned earlier, some kind of overlord kind of controlling how things are run. It's really about the creative freedom of the creators, and
sure.
I really absolutely love that.
And there's also this little thing about it's homemade, but slightly better than you could make it your home, is the way I describe it. And that's really appealing to people. They can see the duct tape, they can see the corners you had to cut because of budgets. They can see sometimes that it's just in your basement, you know, you know, that you're wearing a shirt on inside out, and now it's a sci-fi shirt. Like, they can see all of that, and I love it because that's like in the trenches, you know, television making, and that's great. And that you can get online and get away with, because you know, obviously, if you're broadcasting on a major network and it's $1 million, you know, multi-million-dollar show, they're not going to let you pull that kind of crap. But on a web series, you can, and I think it's appealing. I think it's engaging. I think it's relatable, and that helps. That, you know, makes it even better to watch.
I also think there's something, too, about the discovery of a web series. Like, it's something that can feel like very, like, oh, I'm into this web series. It can feel, like, more exclusive in a way. Like, you've discovered something that not a lot of other people know about, because you're not going to get, like, for TV shows, where you get, like, a billboard advertising, or you get the Young and Bloor subway that's, like, totally bought out with ads for the fall season on Showcase or whatever. But for a web series, it's something that you really have to find yourself, and kind of it spreads through word of mouth. And I think all of that is, it feels like you're on the ground floor with the creators, and I think that's really exciting. It feels like you're part of that dialogue in a way.
Absolutely. First viewer question: is there anything, and maybe this is better directed at Davin, is there anything from seasons 1 and 2 you would change in hindsight?
Oh, sure, definitely. I think season 2 was way stronger than season 1, and probably a lot of that comes from we just knew the characters much better by the time we were writing season 2. Also, special effects. I do a lot of that work, and I was learning as I went along. So season 1, when it first came out back on The Escapist, way back in the day, the special effects are pretty awful. I think our biggest mistake, and most people who make web series know this, is that your first episode is the most important episode. It's the one that everyone watches. It's the gateway. If they like it, they're in. If they don't give it the same kind of time to grow as a TV series. So our first episode was not good. Our first episode is short. It's a single scene. The comedy wasn't quite tight enough. So I would have gone back and I would have taken episodes 1 and 2 and I would have put them together and made like an awesome, meaty, funny, really great first episode of the series. So that's one thing that I actually wish I could change. Other than that, I'm really happy with what the writing came up with, and the acting was phenomenal. So there's none of those things that I would change. And the look and the feel of the show is great. You know, it's super fun. So it really does come down to just a nitpick about the format of the first episode that we had.
I know that for myself. I know if it's directed more at Davin, but like I was feeling that the other cast members on the set, they are so incredible and so talented, and I just felt so kind of lucky and sometimes odd to be around there and to be around this set that was, you know, totally realized in the soundstage. Like it just felt quite pro, and I think I was a little bit shy and a bit less playful, and so I'm excited to go back, and I really hope we do get to go back into a third season, and kind of, that was one of my biggest regrets about missing the second one, was I was like, oh man, I just want to jump back in Elle and just like play.
Well, and this is great. So I can now start. I want to give kind of more Easter egg here, behind the scenes stuff, and this actually leads me to a really good one. The first season, we pretty much stuck to the script. The second season, it was a lot more improv, and we took a lot more stuff from the actors. I think because everything was, you know, we were doing better. That's a bad way to put it, but we knew what we were doing. And filming the first season, it was kind of pro, but also kind of chaotic at the same time. By the time we were in second season on set, then it's too bad Tess missed it, because it was really, everything was running smooth. Everyone was having a good time. We had a little more time to play around with the scenes and the characters. And we found a way. So when you're making a web series for such a low budget where you have so much material, you burn through pages fast. On a normal TV show, you shoot about 13 pages. On a web series, we were shooting about 23 pages a day. So we were shooting twice as much material as you do on a TV show. In the second season, though, we started to come up with a way that we could take improvs from the characters. So what was happening is we would run a scene, someone would say something funny just off the cuff, everyone would laugh, and we would turn to Nicole Dorsey, who was this amazing script continuity person we had, and we would say, make a note. She would make a note. And then every time we would redo the scene, she would feed that back to the actor and say, remember that you're going to say silk robe, you're going to say rock that gi, you're going to say blast the donger. And that's how scenes like the conversation between the two guys in the hangar bay, that's how that scene came about. So that was Kyle Dooley and Jason DeRoss are the two actors. They're playing the old Jedis. And a lot of that scene it was funny, but it wasn't as funny until those guys just sat there and played with it, and we let them come up with about 5 or 6 jokes each. So like blast the donger, not in the script. Great little improv, left it in, and unlike season 1, it didn't hit the editing room floor. So I was very happy with the fact that we were able to get to a spot where the actors could be looser and develop great scenes like that, just right on the spot.
Now, I mean, this actually segues really nicely, and I'll address this to Tess. Hearing that, it seems like you may have a little bit more play with the character of Elle as opposed to being more scripted. Where would you actually like to see Elle go moving forward? Obviously, you know, you want to have a final say, but, you know, where would you like to see her go?
I don't know. I think I feel like the first season is so much as the first season is with any show, like really an introduction. And I'm just really interested to see kind of more her in-depth relationships to all the characters. Like, we kind of get that her and Darby have a history, and that one is the one that I feel like is more kind of fleshed out, and there's some annoyance there. But I would just, like, love to see, like, what's up with Elle and Mike? Like, how do those two interact in a one-on-one circumstance? And just kind of really play around with those dynamics. Or, you know, or Elle and Edith, and like I think just kind of get more into like the one-on-ones of who she really is with these people.
The episode where they did where I think it was the boys were controlling you. I don't know how you pulled that off. I was killing myself laughing, especially when I was seeing the extra side of that. that had to be hard to film, like just to take
I was laughing a lot. I think all the takes ended with me just breaking, and like Brendan had me like punching myself a ton, and also just keeping it straight because I was looking at my peripheral, and so just keeping it straight. Like, was I doing it at the same time? Or I think some people have pointed it out that I messed up and I'm actually doing opposite at one point. But yeah, guys, huge faux pas. Huge faux pas. But Brendan is just so funny with leading all of that. It was just, like, that's the kind of playful stuff that I have so much fun doing, and I'm just so excited to get back to. Hopefully.
All right.
And we haven't talked with Tess about it too much because, you know, things could still change. But we have already sort of planned out where the character is going to go for season 3.
So exciting! You mentioned one thing to me about who I'll be spending a lot of time with. Maybe. It's so exciting.
Yeah, it's really fun. There's lots of great stuff for season 3. I'm so excited. We can talk about where we're at in terms of making it, but I really hope it comes together because the ideas for the characters, where they go, is hilarious. There's lots of great stuff. And is season 1, because we just didn't have a lot of time, and some of the scripts were stronger than others, some characters got fleshed out, some didn't. We started to correct some of that in season 2, but by the time we hit season 3, I think we're at a spot where it can be more character-driven, right? And you know, the environment is set, the sort of style of the comedy is set, and we can just focus on the cool people. So it's great. So I think everyone, including Tessa's character, would get like a richer treatment, and we would be able to see different sides of her character, which is fantastic.
Awesome. All right, Davin, if you want to talk to us about the Geek and Sundry experience and meeting Felicia and how that all kind of came about.
Sure. Well, so we knew Felicia Day, more Geoff than myself. I knew her, and we'd emailed maybe once. But Geoff LePere, my co-production partner, he was the main guy behind Pwnage. Him and a guy named Jarrett Kale and myself, the three of us produced that show, which was an internet show dating all the way back to 2004. And I always say it's the big 3. I'm probably wrong, but it was like Red versus Blue, The Guild, and Pwnage were kind of like 3 pretty, fundamental early web series. And so just because of that, we knew the guys who did Red versus Blue, and we knew Felicia behind The Guild. And so when Felicia was getting her YouTube channel, which is Geek and Sundry, and it's one of the premier Google channels, so Google helped them, gave them some money to make a slate of shows, right? So Felicia needed a couple shows on her channel, and coincidentally, we were just finishing up season 1 of Space Janitors. So it was kind of one of those deals where, she said, "Hey, what are you guys up to?" We said, "Hey, we're up to this." We sent her a link. She sent a link back saying, "That's great. Why don't we get on board?" And we were so happy because Geek and Sundry they're an amazing community. And what I love about the people behind Geek and Sundry, so Sherry and Kim and all the people there, Ryan, is that because web series is their focus, they know what they're doing. They know how to promote them. They know how to distribute them. They know how to talk to their audience about them. They know all of these things. And with other people that we've worked with throughout our careers, we're the ones that they look to because we have the experience building web series. And no one really understands what this thing is until they made House of Cards. Now everyone knows what a web series is. Bastards. But back in the day, we were the experts, right? And so we kind of had to handhold people through how to promote the series, different ways to use forums and contests and all that kind of thing. As soon as we hit Geek and Sundry, we realized we were working with the pros and that we could learn from them, and that's exactly what happened. So it was great. I did have a chance to go down to LA, meet with them twice. One time with Felicia. They're wonderful people, really supportive of the project, and yeah, it's been nothing but smooth sailing with those guys.
Amazing. And yeah, let's talk about season 3. You had an Indiegogo campaign that was up a little while ago. I know that Kickstarter is about to enter Canada here within, I think, the next month or so. So why don't you talk to us a little bit about about season 3, where it's at? Yeah,
for sure. Now the Indiegogo thing, it's weird to talk about because if you were sitting and having coffee with me in about 5 minutes, I could explain what happened there. We started the Indiegogo campaign to help get season 3 rolling, then realized that we can't promote it on Geek and Sundry because Geek and Sundry has so many shows that all would do a fundraising campaign if they could. So it's just kind of, to play fair, you can't promote it. So what we did is we just kind of let it die. Now I know that sounds horrible because there was like over 500 people that signed up and supported us, and we actually raised like $35,000 without trying to promote it. Which
and they
we
all
don't
got
get
their money back, yeah?
Yeah, they all get their money back.
Yeah,
all got their
my
money
dad
back.
was like, "Thanks, I got it back."
Yeah. So the plan is now to we have to acknowledge it, but we also have to put it behind us because we're going to try again with a Kickstarter campaign. Because now we're actually in a spot where we're starting to get some other funding lined up. We definitely know what we want to do. I think we can make a stronger video to pitch it to people. I think a lot of people weren't even aware of the Indiegogo campaign because we weren't promoting it very heavy and where our audience was, we weren't allowed to talk to them. or just weren't able to talk to them. So it's complicated, but it's kind of like the Indiegogo campaign came and went. It was very well supported. Thank you very much. But we are going to do it again. We're going to do it for reals this time, for realsies, and it's going to be Kickstarter, and it's going to come this fall. Yeah, for season 3, I can very quickly say that it's like we all think it's going to happen. There's still some money that has to be raised, but we're talking to a lot of people. We have our plans in place. We've applied to the right funds. We're actually talking to some brands right now that are super cool. So if any of them come through, it's going to be just awesome to take brands and do, and work with them on the show. So we're very positive, 95%. We've told the actors and all of our department heads that we're pretty confident it's going to go through. So it's just a matter of probably, I would say in November, we'll know that we've got a green light, and that would be when we launch the Kickstarter, just to see how much of a green light we've got. And that leads us into filming sometime in the winter. That's the plan right now.
That's great news. I mean, so that's amazing. Now, exposure. You talked a bit about the Geek and Sundry community, which I absolutely love as well. I'm a member of it. The con circuit. What other things do you guys do to expose the masses to Space Janitors?
What do? We don't do enough, that's for sure.
Well, you guys are so busy doing so many other parts of the show, right? Like gathering funding and then doing all the special effects after the season is filmed. Like, it's such a small team taking care of so many things, right? What I'm saying is, don't beat yourself up. You're doing great.
Yeah. No, we have, there's only so many hats we can wear, and we have a bandwidth problem because there's essentially 2 people doing a lot of the production of the show, the post. But so what we've relied on so far is the help of our actor friends, and they've done a wonderful job. They have, they're comedians, and they have great followings, on Twitter and on Facebook. Our Facebook community is really strong. It's growing. It's been growing at a really strong rate even after all the episodes have come out. So they're a pretty good place for us to release news right now. And in fact, that's sort of the main place where we've been keeping people up to date on where we are in terms of production. Because when it ends on Geek and Sundry and there's no word at the end of the last episode that we're doing season 3, it's kind of weird, right? Like, as a viewer, out of sight, out of mind, you might just forget about it right away. Right. So we have to keep some channel open to talk to people about where we are, and it's through the Facebook so far.
Absolutely. So everybody go and like Space Janitors on Facebook. You won't regret it. There's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff, especially I think from season 1.
The Facebook. I said it like an old man.
Good stuff.
It's through that thing. What's the face page?
Face page where you got the pictures and the words.
I heard long term.
So is there any?
So promoting. I mean, we've got a lot of new ideas. I'm very excited about them. And with season 3, we're gonna go. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, we again some latency.
Go ahead,
here.
Blair. I think we're catching up. There's a little bit of lag, but take it away.
If there was one person who you would like to have guest star in Space Janitors, who would it be?
Ooh.
Tess, why don't you take that one first?
Oh, one person I'd love to have guest star? Like anyone in the whole world?
Sure.
I feel like I need a second to sit on that. Davin, do you know?
Yeah, I have someone in mind. I'm going to get her name wrong, though. This is going to be really embarrassing.
No.
Maybe you can help me, Blair. Who's the girl mechanic from Firefly? Jewel?
Oh, yeah.
Jewel State. We've been talking about how there's a lot of connections between Firefly and our show in terms of the sense of humor. And with the way that Season 3... Oh, this is a teaser. With the way that Season 3 currently plays out, there is a beautiful spot where it basically does a dance with Firefly. And if there was any way to get Jewel to pop by and do a little cameo for us, it would really make my universe. So, we're going to try and push for that one, I think.
She is a fellow countryman. He might have some pull there.
She's a Vancouverite, I believe.
Yes. Imagine her
in the LA complex. I loved that show.
Yes.
Yeah.
That film's right here in Toronto, I believe. I think I've seen the trucks out front on King Street a few times. So.
Totally. They had Toronto doubling for LA, which is, I think, they did some really cool stuff there to make that work.
We should hear from people who watch this interview too, who they want to see, because we can. Who knows? We'll give it a shot. Whoever we want to do. James Edward
Brilliant is awesome too. Like him and I used to be. Well, he was in the same improv troupe that I was in. Then years later.
What?
Yeah, he used to be in Rapid Fire. He goes back sometimes to play. I've never met him, but.
Okay.
Yeah, Edmontonian.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Was there ever a reference or joke that you guys thought was hilarious that just never made it into any of the episodes?
Never made it into the episodes. Let me think.
I don't remember. It feels like it was like 2 years ago that I was actually on set. Yeah.
Well, I can tell you one episode idea that I really championed that never made it, and never made it for good reason. I wanted to see. Because it sucks. I wanted to see an episode that featured Edith. I think we all do. And the episode that I had planned was that the spaceship itself becomes self-aware and becomes depressed. And it becomes really kind of emo.
Like a 2001 Space Oddity kind of voice thing going on?
Yeah, but also more like, oh, guys, like, I don't know.
Like Eeyore the spaceship? Like,
yeah, exactly. Eeyore the spaceship. Like,
where have I been going? Just like vast nothingness. So
like, it's just a planet, guys. Like, I don't want to do anything. And then it was going to be up to Edith, because she's a computer psychologist. We've mentioned it, but we've never done a single thing about it. So to have her have to
analyze the ship.
Analyze the ship, and the idea was there was like a wormhole or a black hole, or they'd blown up a planet, and the shockwave was going to kill everybody. And the pathetic, apathetic space station didn't want to move, and so it was up to Edith to save the day by talking with the ship, sitting down, have a tea with it, figure things out, and she would get frustrated, and be all crazy energy Edith like she is, but eventually find some common ground with the ship, make friends with the ship, and then the ship would reboot and take off. So that was an idea that I played around with for a long time, but
that does not suck. That
sucks.
Gold.
I don't know.
You're hard on yourself, Davin.
The way we do our ideas recently, there's 3 writers. I'm not really a writer. It's more Geoff LaPere and Andy Hull, and then I'm just kind of in the room with the other 2 guys. And we put our story ideas up on a big cork board with recipe cards. So it's totally old school. And basically we put like, here's the 10 plot points we've got, and we put them up, and then everyone gets excited. We're like, whoa, we can move that there, and there's this new idea, and let's color it blue because blue is an exciting color, and that's a good idea, and get yarn and attach it between recipe cards, and oh man, this is amazing. And then I took mine and I put it up. And there was like dead silence for about a minute. And it's just like, yeah, what do we have? Look at what Geoff's got.
Yeah, everyone just puts their craft supplies away. They're like, I think the corkboard is done.
Yeah. We're gonna go. Thanks, guys. Good meeting. Yeah. So
I like it. There's an episode of Futurama like that where the ship comes alive and has an affair with Bender.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Great. He's like having this big romance with the ship. I forget what happens, but I think it's a Valentine's Day episode. I remember it being very good.
Some of the other episode ideas, there was one where there was a Q. So Q from Star Trek. Tess, do you know who Q from Star Trek is?
No, I was thinking M from James Bond.
No, Q is like
is that proper? John something Delancey? I don't remember that.
I was like, yeah, go ahead.
It's the most powerful sentient being in the universe.
Oh, huge.
Yeah, and he shows up and like he's a total dick, which is hilarious.
Yeah, like a little wiener, like hipster kid, sorry.
No, he's actually like more like a snooty Frenchman.
Oh.
That's all. That's all. I love French people.
Controls everything. Everywhere.
Yeah.
And the actual one is like on Star Trek, or like in our concept?
No, the actual one.
Oh,
so we were gonna do basically an adolescent Q, who doesn't have a lot of power, but he just has enough power to annoy one person. And then he was going to show up on the ship and just like bug the hell out of Darby. That was one of the ideas that we had, and that one never came to be. So
that's really funny. I
like
like the idea of like getting a teen on the show.
Yeah, but also just like a dick, but only to one person. So he's like almost the most powerful force in the universe, and he's there just to like ruin your day, like push your tray over when you're trying to eat food and stuff like that.
Yeah. Just do that little like earbud bug or whatever. Earbud.
Oh, I can give you one more. At the end of episode 3 in season 2, it's all about our Chewbarka. We've never called him Chewbarka, but for legal reasons, I'm going to call him Chewbarka. There was, how do you get him off the ship? That was, because he comes, he wants to be your friend, there's this whole life debt, he hangs out with Darby, but we need to get him off the ship. And we couldn't figure out how to do that forever. And I think at one point there was an elaborate Rube Goldberg machine set up so that it would look like Darby was going to die, and then it would look like Chewbarka saves him, but he didn't, and then he would eventually leave the station, and there was like going to be pulleys, and the pianos were going to fall from the hangar bay ceiling, and people were going to shoot phaser beams and just miss, and it was so complicated, and we got into these long, drawn-out discussions about, like, well, it can't be Dennis who shoots because he has no aim, but then is it funnier if he's the guy who's supposed to shoot and he misses, and it's just like, oh, it got so crazy. And then eventually we just said, why don't we just have him, like, leave? He just leaves. I think that's what happened. It's basically he just leaves.
Oh my god, that's so funny. I love the progression of like, how do we get this guy out of here, and going through this like maze, this serpentine series of things that could happen, and we're coming out with.
Oh, it was literally someone said, I think it was Andy said, you know what, Pat has a bear costume, and then we said, oh, well, okay, we'll just put Pat in the bear costume, and then Chewbacca leaves. And that was it. That was how we finished that episode.
There you go. The rest is history.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Davin, did you meet George on Pwnage? Is that where you found him? Or Geoff, sorry, not George.
Oh, sorry, I missed that, Blair. Did I meet who?
Oh,
Geoff.
Did you meet Geoff on Pwnage? Or did you know him before?
Oh, yeah. I knew him before, but that was the first time we worked together. Geoff was studying physics. He was studying photonics. Maybe not photonics, but basically studying light and light properties. I had just come out of engineering physics and was studying law, and I moved into a residence in University of Toronto that he was also associated with. And we actually met over music. I had written a funny song for like a talent show, and Geoff's a really good musician. And so when I played the song, he was recording some of the songs to, I don't know, just post for everyone at the residence. Kind of a backward story, but I was filming ninja films. I was filming for the hell of it. These epic 2-hour-long films. I've done 7 of them. They're called The Yellow Ninja. Just to give you an idea of how legitimate they are, I play the Emperor of Japan. And Geoff needed to film the first action scene for Pwnage, which is a keyboard fight in, I believe, episode 3 or 4 of Pwnage. It's the first time we meet the Masterer. So for those of you that are Pwnage fans, that's a pretty big moment. And Geoff didn't need help, but he asked if I wanted to help film an action scene. And I said, absolutely. So I showed up, and we got a smoke machine, and we went to a room at Massey College where we were both fellows. And I came up with the idea of putting a camera on top of a keyboard and swinging it through like a sword. And we made that scene, and it was super fun. And then the rest, as they say, is history. Geoff and I just kept working together for years after that. So that was 2004, I think, or 2005 that we did that. And we've worked together on web series ever since then.
Is this Pwnage movie still happening in the works?
Yeah. It was stalled for a really long time, at least, you know, from my perspective, from what I know about what they're working on. But as of right now, they're working really hard on the writing. So it's definitely coming through, and they're doing the right thing. They're going to do it old school. Like they're going to do it like the old style web series. And the ideas that I've heard, it's funny. So it's going to be huge, man. It's going to own babies.
And I guess I didn't know Tess's connection with Hannah, so I can maybe address this to both of you. The web creator community seems to be tight and seems to feed off of each other, and I guess you both have a connection to the Versus Valerie or Sexy Nerd Girl franchise. Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about this series and what it means to both of you and your involvement.
Well, I've never been involved with the series other than a big supporter and audience member. basically, when Hannah and I moved here, she got the offer fairly shortly. I think it was, I don't know, I'd say it was about 2 months after we moved to Toronto in 2010 to start doing these vlogs and start being this character with the kind of premise that it would progress to the series that it is now, so an episodic web series. And so I just kind of was, I got the at-home, behind-the-scenes experience of her kind of coming back and talking about what she was doing, and as the Valerie character formed, hearing more about Valerie and hearing more about, and I'm sure Hannah could speak more to this, but about kind of how important that strong female who's like sexual but who's also playful, who's a bestie, who's a geek, who's a nerd, like how she was this like really dynamic character, and just hearing how much joy and how seriously and also playfully Hannah took that role on, and I think that really comes through in the series, and I think her work in it is just is so great. So I guess that would be my involvement as just a huge advocate for her awesome work in it.
Have you been in another?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Have you been in another web series, Tess, or so far are we the only web series that you've done?
You guys are it, man.
Sweet, only game in town.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, that's it.
Okay.
I'm worried. I'm like forgetting guesting on something.
Yeah.
But
you do a lot more theater, right? You do theater and you do improv and a few things that aren't necessarily, they're live. You do a lot more live performance.
Yeah,
you did a show last night.
Yes, I did do a show last night, yeah, and I got to do a nice Space Janitors plug there, so it was, and I had a lot of fun. I did a Sunday Night Live show with the Sketchersons at Comedy Bar.
Which
Brandon
is...
Holleran's old haunt.
She hosted the Sketchersons, and that means something in the comedy community. It means Tess is the best.
I don't know, but
it almost rhymes. Tess is the best.
Yeah, that's an assonance rhyme, baby.
Assonance rhyme.
Yeah.
Yeah, but for me, we had, I got lucky. There's a guy named Mike Fly who you should talk to, and I think you know him, so you should interview him, because he's got a lot to say, too. He's been doing web series for a really long time, and you know, there is a community. It is a tight community. I don't want to put a number on it, but I'm about to. It's about probably 15 producers, 15 to 20 people that focus on making web series. Most of them not full-time, a lot of them part-time. Because it's not that big of a business at the moment. But we work really hard, and we share resources, we share knowledge. You know, everyone's trying to make it in this business, and so we help each other as much as we can. Very collaborative. And, you know, my history with this is really interesting, because when we did Pwnage, we were just kind of off in the woods doing our own little show. I had no idea there was a web series community building up in Toronto or in Canada. And it was only after we did the TV show and we sort of went back to see what other web series we could do, that we learned that there's all these really talented people, you know, trying to do this same kind of thing. And so it's only been maybe the last year or two that I've been involved in the web series community, and I'm better for it. And a good example of that is Mike Fly. So the guy that we picked up to help out, he was our director of photography and also did some production managing on Space Janitors, and then in return, we sort of did a swap, and Mike was one of the main producers behind Versus Valerie, and I kind of came on to do production supervision. So yeah, we just kind of crossed roles on those two web series, and they're both in the same boat for the next season. So we have season 3, kind of half funded, and we're working at it. You know, it's all looking good. They have a bunch of funding for Versus Valerie season 2, and we're going to make that happen as well. So I think we're going to have a really fun winter, because I think we're going to be able to make both series again. And I think both of us are going to help out on each one. So the same kind of deal. So it's a blast.
Yeah. And fun fact about Mike. Oh, sorry. He's actually.
No, go ahead. Please, Tess. Go ahead.
Mike is actually from Saskatchewan as well. I've known him since he was in high school, and I was in elementary school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's part of the improv community there. He's really an amazing individual, like totally a jack of all trades. He's a photographer.
Yeah, we're both from Saskatchewan. That's right. Tess is from Regina. I'm from North Battleford, near Saskatoon.
What?
Yeah, I'm a Saskatchewanite.
I did not know that. Saskatchewanarian.
Yeah, I know. No, it's crazy. We're taking over.
Yeah, great.
Wheat and web series. That's what we do.
Yeah, wheat in the web. 2 out of the 3 W's. What am I?
Wheat in the web.
Someone interested.
The worldwide wheat.
Yes, there it is. There it is.
Yeah, definitely. I've been in touch with Mike, and I'm hoping to get him on one soon. I know he hasn't. He's been sick lately, so hopefully he gets better soon. So. Also,
I know that there's a new show that's coming out that I think would be like probably maybe a similar target demo to ours. It's called Space Riders.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the one that got the IPF this year as well?
Yeah. IPF is a fund in Canada. It's a really cool fund. Those of you that are in Canada looking to make a series, you should just Google that. But yeah, they make about 10 to 15 web series a year, and one of the ones they funded is...
Yeah, it'll definitely be worth checking out too. There's some amazing talent involved with it. Like Jordan Canning is directing, and Mark Little and Dan Byrne, and Kyle Dooley is going to be involved with that as well. So, and he's in an episode of Space Janitors that Davin referenced earlier with the what is that big line? But like blow the dong. What is it?
Blast the donger.
Blast the donger. That's it.
Blast
blow the dong. Yeah, he's got away with words, that one. So anyway, that'll totally be worth checking out and maybe worth investigating too for you and your show, Blair.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Well, I should wrap this up. I want to thank very much Tess Dagenstein and Devin Langle for joining me on today's episode. I could talk to you guys forever, but we should put this down. I hope everybody else enjoyed the episode, and until next time, guys, keep on streaming. Goodbye.
Bye.